Right. Amazing. Okay, so I've read both of your writings, and I would just want you to select one and read to us, and then I'll give feedback on what we've written so far, and then we can continue on the journey. All right, so who goes first? Ladies first?
Select one. Ah, so how do I do that? I'll split my screen or something.
No, you could minimize the Zoom app, and then you can read from your
Is
word
it?
processor app.
I'm using a phone.
Yes, you can actually you can actually minimize your Zoom app, or you can pull up your word processing app, and then you you just read. Like, you don't need to share your screen, because we just want you to read one story out of out of the three.
Okay. No. Let me read one from Facebook. He looks stern. No iota of smile seems to be on the horizon. His eyes looking straight ahead, somewhat jaded. One would think the photographer asked him to give his best boning face. Why would anyone take a picture without smiling anyway? He probably was upset at something or was not in the mood for a snapshot. Better still, it could be a shy one who masks his shyness with a stern look. Script flip. I know him, and I have seen him smile before at different times. That was a lifetime ago, though, but I remember he smiled beautifully, and his smile bordered on shyness sometimes. Yeah, I'm through.
Oh wow, that's beautiful. You know, when I read
Yeah.
that, I felt this is beautiful. Yeah, it's very beautiful. So, Baba Femi could go ahead and just read to us.
Okay, sir. I'm going to be reading the one with the picture from my gallery. Okay. A smiling face on a crying soul. I'm all bright and fair, but if you only know how to see beyond this layer, you will see that I hide a lot behind my cheerful look. Many times, I just feel like the ground can open up as it did to Cora and swallow me. That's why I hide under the makeup. There is too much expectation on me from family. And even though I act unbothered, he actually worries me. He even keeps me up at night. And
Well, okay. Wow, thank you for that. So, our first reader read about someone who apparently never smiled in his pictures, right? He had this stern look, but then, you know, with the introduction of a script flip, she was able to help us see that actually this person used to smile a lifetime ago, right? And that smile was tending towards, the shy smile, right? It has spiked our curiosity, like, okay, yeah, if there's a script flip, what happened in the interval? Why did this? Why is the writer telling us this must have been a lifetime ago, right? That kind of thing. Like, okay, so what happened? What led to this change in, personality, or in expression of personality, right? Okay, so that's from Mrs. Adetunji. Now, for Master Adebajo, uh, you wrote from the first person as though you were already writing the maybe memoir or autobiography or something like that, right? Hello?
yes, sir. I
Oh,
wasn't sure what person I was expected to write for.
okay, okay. like an outside right? So you're trying to figure out who this person is, right? So you're not writing from the how will I call it the you're not writing from the first person point of view, okay? So very quickly, we're quickly going to do a little a little exercise. So can you break down how you arrived at this story? What were the things that went on in your mind when you were trying to write the paragraph you wrote? Okay, so we're going to take it turn after turn, right? So what when there's something called metacognition, right? And metacognition is the capacity to understand how you think, or the capacity to know how you know things, right? So it's like metacognition. So cognition is understanding and knowing and stuff like that. But meta means you are now you are knowing. It's like you've gone a level ahead, a level above, and then that level above gathers what something is. So it's more like metaphysical means something beyond the physical, but which actually superimposes on the physical. So you have so anytime you see meta, it's more like an nth dimension to something that maybe everybody understands or everybody knows. But somebody who brings the meta to it has transcended that level and then is able to critically understand what makes the lower level work, right? So the question now is, how did you start this process? Did you do it because you normally can write, or did you pay attention to the process as you were writing out this paragraph? So um will Femi go first? Just try to bring us into how you arrived at this paragraph that you wrote.
Okay, sir. Okay, so for the first person I wrote about, I was walking back from work on my street, so his car was. I'd seen that car earlier when I was going to work, and the car was still there. And then I just saw the owner of the car just standing by, and I could easily have walked past, but then I looked at his face a second time, and I realized that he had frustration written all over it, and I kept mulling that over as I walked. I kept mulling that over as I walked. And so when it was time for me to write, I just kept wondering what could have made him that frustrated. Why would he look so down? And then that was where I wrote from.
Okay, awesome, awesome.
But
So,
for do I need to talk about the second one?
no, that first one, you didn't read it to us, right? So now that you've told us what led to you writing about it, can you now read it to us? So we're
Oh,
able
okay.
to, yes, please.
1 minute. It's opening.
It's fine. Yeah, it's fine. Yeah.
Yeah. It happened again. Well, I shouldn't be too surprised. Nothing ever goes according to plan, except of course if it is going against me. Yesterday, it was my boss that wouldn't just let me be. He had 1,001 complaints about my report, as if it was my first day on the job over again. Today, it is my car that won't be coerced to start after stopping in a ditch filled with water. Not even the mechanic's touch could arouse it. This has to be the worst week in a long time. Who knows what it will be tomorrow? My nerves are frayed as it were, and I can sense another breakdown, except I do something. I won't let it, not this time. End of story.
Amazing, amazing, cool. So now, there's something that is very important when you have a court, and one of the things that happens in a court is you are able to I mean, you permit other people to reflect over what you're writing and all of that, right? So we're going to give permission to um, those on this call to reflect on what you just read, okay? And to be able to let us know if when you introduce the story without having read the story to us, like the emotions that were found in your initial intro, were they reflected in how you wrote? And then beyond even how you wrote, were they reflected in how you read? Do you get the picture? So how you wrote and how you read, were the emotions reflected, right? The choice of words really, really, bring out, the emotions. Okay, so we're going to hold that quickly. So just note it that there will be a review after this. Yes. So, Ms. Adetunji, can you give us a lead up to how you came about your story? Like, just tell us how you came about the story, any of the
Is this
stories
the
you
one
have.
I?
Yeah, it could be the
Okay.
one you wrote. Yeah. So how did you process it? What were the steps you took in beginning to write? Yeah.
Okay, for the first the one I got from my gallery. That's the first one I wrote about a dad feeding his twin girls. Okay,
Okay.
so what fascinated me was the way he balanced, like someone who has been doing this for some time, like the way he balanced the babies, like little babies. Those babies can be more than a month or two, and it was bottle feeding both of them at the same time. So I was just wondering that, okay, so is this something that this person has been doing before? Like maybe he's done it before or not? Or did he learn on the job, you know, being a new parent or something? Or maybe he has had practice before, or maybe even before he got into marriage, maybe from raising his younger siblings or other people's kids or something. So yeah, so I started writing from there. And then I was thinking, okay, a typical African setting, where is the mom? Why is it the daddy feeding the babies? You understand? But then I just thought about it, okay. The mom could be resting. It's not a mean feat. I mean, it's not mean feat having twins. Even a single baby, it's a lot of work, not talk of twins. So she's probably resting, and she could just be there. And then at some point, I was like, okay, so who took the picture? It must be the mom. So that was what
Okay.
led to
Okay.
my notes.
So would you now read it to us?
Okay. Okay, so from my phone gallery, this dad feeding his twin daughters. What's the story? I wonder what made him take up the task of simultaneously feeding his infant girls. Does this come naturally to him, or was it learned? Is it forced due to nagging or from a sense of responsibility and co-ownership? Could it be that mommy is getting some much needed rest in that moment? Oh, she probably took the picture while smiling in sweet relief that she caught a great one in men. End of story.
Okay. All right, great, great. Okay, so now, uh, the two stories, they came out well. I feel maybe one paragraph might not, have done sufficient justice, to exactly what you're trying to express. But that's you, digging deep to try to understand what um those two different entities, like Femi was discussing about the man who he met his car in the morning when he was going to work, and then when he was coming back, he still met the car. I mean, that must have been one very frustrated, person at that point in time, right? And you also talking about the father with, two girls, and he's feeding them. That's amazing. Okay, so now I would like both of you to, respond to each other. Like, what did you, when Femi was reading or when you were reading, like, so just reflect on like the the strength of communication of the emotions, right? That the protagonist of the stories you wrote must have. been experiencing, and did you feel like they were well captured, right? So yeah, just go ahead and make some observations and some comments on each other's works.
Okay,
Goes
sir.
first.
Can I go first?
Yeah, yeah, that's fine, please. That's fine.
All right. All right. When I was listening to the first reading, I was like, wow, why did I choose this point of view to write my own? I just felt like, oh, this is so good because almost immediately as she read it, I could picture a man frowning, not smiling, just with his hard look. And no, and for me, if words create imagery, it means that yes, they conveyed what the writer wanted to pass across. So for that very first reading, that did it for me. I felt like yeah, the words actually captured what she was thinking when she saw the picture. But for this second reading, it feels more like I'm walking through the maze of someone's thoughts, and so I'm trying to imagine a man balancing two babies, but it's not quite as clear in terms of the kind choice of words and all, as there's nothing descriptive about the second reading, or yeah, the second writing. That's what I would say. So but that's my own observation.
Awesome. Thank you so much for that, and thank you because the observation is clear. It's yeah, like it's constructive because she knows what she can do after this. Based on what you have said. Thank you so much. All right. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. Uh, for your story about the frustrated
Hello. Is that network?
person, it's one way or this. And a particular line actually got me laughing. Like I actually laughed. Now, if I were the person in the
Oh, is that my network or is it as?
I think it's us because I was wondering if it was my network too, sir.
Oh, okay, okay, cool.
situation,
Okay.
when you say funny, not where you said, except I remember, but like, is I just laughed. Like I literally laughed because that person in retrospect, when he's thinking about that thought or that experience, is something that can make him laugh. That why does it always happen that when my day is supposed to be going this way, or every other person's day is going this way, mine is going the opposite way, and then it's like the frustration is just mounting up, mounting. And then at the end of it, or after that phase has passed, it's something you look back on, and then you even laugh at yourself at maybe some of your reactions or not, or something like that. Yeah, and the thought process of what could have made the frustration so written on his face, like okay, something had happened yesterday. If he had not had a maybe a very difficult day or a rough day, the issue with the car may not have really mounted that much pressure on him. But then because there's like a backlog of frustration, or unexpected turn in his day or his week, so that made the frustration so written all over his face. And for me, it was vivid enough to picture someone having that, and it was relatable for me because at times as a baker, you would wonder whether you okay. And there was this one where you said like was the person's first day at work. It was relatable because there are times that I'm working on a cake and I'm like, is this my first time of doing this? Like, why is it like everything is just not working and I'm having to do this all over and over again? So that really, yeah, that's great.
Amazing, amazing. Okay, so this is one of the beauties about reviews and critiquing of works, because what happens is that we suddenly get, how I call it, we get to know what we could do better. At the same time, we are reinforced in our intuition is kind of reinforced sometimes, because there are sometimes when we feel like this is what I should do, but then you don't do it, or you're like maybe not, and then you get a feedback, and then the next thing is, oh wow, I felt like actually towing this path, but I didn't tow it, right? But then by virtue of feedback, one is now more assured in pursuing that path in other instances. Okay, so what has happened right now is that both of you try to enter into the shoes of two different people, or four different people, or even six different people, and Mrs. Tolu wrote from she wrote from a third person perspective, like she was peering in. It was like she was looking through the window, right, and trying to see what was going on. So she didn't have full details. So that was why the second or the first one she read was more like no, the second one she read was more like, you said it was about you were inside somebody's thoughts. Femi was saying it was inside somebody's thoughts, and so sometimes the thoughts are scattered. It's from one question to another, from one question to another. Like, okay, so why is this person doing this? Why is this person doing this? And that's also a critical part of how to write. When you're writing for another person, the questions to ask to tease out nuances, right? The questions to ask are very, very important. And it's I must have mentioned this, or if I didn't mention it, my brother used to be a very, very interesting study to me when I was younger. My brother could just sit down on the chair, and he would start gazing into space, kind of like he would no longer be present with you, right? And I was very curious. I was curious to know what was going on in his mind. And it got to a point, I used to tell him, I'll go to him and I'll say, bros, I feel like entering your mind. I want to know what's going on in your mind. And then he will look at me with one eye like that. But I was very curious that what could be going on in this person's mind? Like, what could be going on? And that feeling, that desire to enter into somebody's mind is what makes you ask questions that other people may never think about. For instance, let me give an instance. How does, I mean, a lot of novelists, when they're building the characters in their novels, they actually do all of these things. And then also in movies, they do this. They do this abroad. They do this a lot abroad. And only a few people are doing it in Africa, right? Some people do it, but not so many. You want to write about somebody that will feature in just 2 pages of a 500-page novel, right? Or somebody that will feature in just 5 minutes of a 2-hour movie. And when you want to, introduce the character, you introduce him as maybe John Carter, and then he shows up, does what he has to do, his dialogues, and then he's out of the picture. He's no longer there. But do you know that in preparing that character, you know, like expert and professional script writers or novelists would have created a background to that person that may have even gone to who his grandfather was sometimes. Sometimes they will even tell you what his favorite cereal is. For instance, they could say he likes Doritos, or he likes, Doritos, that's a snack, or he likes, Kellogg's. But during the 5 minutes he shows up in the movie, there is nothing that connects him with Kellogg's in that 5 minutes, in those 5 minutes. However, there are some nuances that a lover of Kellogg's would would reflect within his 5 minutes that it doesn't have anything to do with Kellogg's. Do you understand the picture? It might just be that, okay, this guy likes Kellogg's, he eats a lot of Kellogg's. And then sometimes it might be that the t-shirt he wears might be a Kellogg's t-shirt. Or it might be that a pack of the cereal is speaking from the background of the movie. Background of the set. Sometimes there will even be nothing about that set at all. But what that has done is that whoever is interpreting that character will have a more robust interpretation of that character than when we just say, hey, John Carter is 55 years old, and John Carter is just going to come into the diner, sit down, and then have a conversation with the waiter and then or the waitress, and then he's going to, ask her out or something like that. But the waitress will not agree, and then that will be the final, that will be the final appearance he makes in that movie, and then he's out of the movie. Why? Because the waitress, who is the central character, did not agree, to his proposal. So, and then, John Carter is out of the movie. However, John Carter, if he just came like that without that background, the interpretation that the actor may have given to him may be two dimensional. It might not be rich enough. All right. And that's where asking questions come in. That's where, when you're writing, you're writing in a descriptive way, you're writing in a show don't tell way, right? There are many times that we want to describe and describe and describe, but there are sometimes two little things can be how. For instance, how does a person sneeze? He sneezes and then it's like, a trumpet has gone off, in the third heavens. If somebody uses that kind of, description to to describe somebody's sneeze, you'll be like, I mean, where did they get that one from again? Like, who sneezes like a trumpet in the third heavens? But what that does to you is that it shows how characteristically, unusual that person's sneeze is, right? Isn't it? So the question is, who is this person? What are the person's peculiarities? Where would this person normally be by 9 p.m. every day? Would this person be in front of the TV watching Africa Magic or watching NTA News? Or would this person rather be lying on the sofa reading a Karen Kingsbury, novel? Or would this person be up shouting his lungs out because, England is playing, Denmark or something like that, right? And these questions begin to tease out minutiae, right? Little details that make the difference. So what's going to happen to today is now that's your principal character in okay, so the guy who was at the car, who was beside his broken down car, and the person who never smiled, but who, a lifetime ago smiled. Now I want you to prepare a list of 10 questions that can tease out unusual characteristics about that character. Do you understand? So you're going to create 10 questions that will tease out unusual characteristics. Now, this assignment is going to help you when you're interviewing clients that you want to ghostwrite for. There are many times that after they've told you everything they feel they want to tell you, the most important pieces of the puzzle that could give their story a new depth, a different slant, may be missing. I don't know if you, how many of you read Humans of New York?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, Humans of New York. But Afemi, hold on, I can see that you have raised your hand. I would allow you, talk now. There was a particular series Humans of New York did on one woman called Tankere.
Tanqueray.
Yeah, Tankere or something like that, right? And it appeared as if, Brandon was able to elicit details from her that, like just struck gold with a lot of people that were reading, the series and stuff like that. And the nuances about a person that came out were very unusual. People were like, yeah, so somebody like this exists. And it was those little details, it was those things about her that he talked about that soon made people want to experience vicariously her life. And now the woman has gone from being very sick to now being very healthy. They fundraised up to $1 million for her, and then she's now living very comfortably, and even right now she's saying that she wants to do shows or something like that. Now, for me, whenever I read Humans of New York stories, I'm always amazed at how the details were teased out, because the summaries we see there were not just the
Mm,
things the character said. The character may have recorded 1 hour worth of content, right?
mm,
And then for Brandon to pick just that right slant, just that right context or texture to their stories that would make you feel like this is a refreshingly new view of a human that I've never seen before. Maybe a unique expression of the human I've never seen before. So that is exactly what being able to ask the right question does. So let's assume that this person that you have written about in this first assignment is your client, right? And you want to tease out the unusual about this person, right? Come up with 10 questions that would help you tease out, this um, um, these unusual disclosures from this person, and then write that down, and then you'll send that between now and tomorrow night, because I will now give you an update to the assignment when you send in the first assignment, which is the 10 questions. I hope you're clear with that.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay. So you're going to say something, Baba Femi.
You've clarified what I wanted to ask.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. So by tomorrow night, please turn that in, send it to Funto before class. I mean before 8 p.m. We'll have another class on Friday. Um, at 8 p.m. We'll have class. So our classes are by 8 p.m. Every 2 days. So we'll just do that. Then we'll resume class again on Monday, by 8 p.m. So send that in before 8 p.m. tomorrow. Then I'll give you the update to the assignment, and then we'll take it from there.
All right, sir.
Okay, okay, great. I'm glad we had a wonderful time this evening, and I look forward to your responses to the questions. So have a great night, and I see you soon.
Thank you, sir. You too.
Alrighty.
Thank you,
Bye,
sir.
everyone.
Good night, everyone.
Good night. Yeah. Good night. Bye.